Hello, everyone. Welcome to AVAIYA University's New Thoughts Summit. I am Andy Anderson. My partner Ike Allen and I are the founders of AVAIYA and Enlightenment Village. Thanks so much for joining us. And in this event, we are talking with some really incredible fellow experts, with thought leaders, visionaries, authors, and more, who are here to inspire and motivate you to pursue the next level of your dreams. And today, our guest is going to talk about self-love for success. So please welcome Janet Attwood. Hi, Janet.
Hi, cutie. I've got my yoga top on. This is for you, okay?
Me too. Yeah, we decided we'd match today in our yoga tops. Excellent. I want to tell everyone a little bit about you, Janet, and then we'll dive in. So for those of you who don't know Janet, she is a visionary, transformational leader and a world humanitarian. She travels the globe supporting people in all walks of life in knowing what their personal greatness. And she is the co-author of 2 New York Times bestsellers, Your Hidden Riches and The Passion Test. She and her former business partner and best friend, Chris Attwood, have trained ex-husband. Have trained over 3,000 passion test facilitators in more than 60 countries. The Passion Test and Your Hidden Riches have been featured on the Fox Morning Show, O Magazine, Success Magazine, Time.com, Alternative Medicine, Organic Spa, and many other media outlets across the world. So, given all of that, let's dive into self-love. So what does self-love have to do with someone's success?
How about everything? I mean, think about it, like, does anyone ever say, God, I really want to hire that person who is the most depressing, negative, awful individual, who can't even see anything good going on in the world? That is, will you please, let's look for that person.
Let's go. Yeah, sounds perfect.
I mean, seriously, right? Like, who do you want to have? Who do you want to have surrounding you? And it's always a choice. And for me, when I used to run marketing division, I actually come from a real corporate background, where I was the marketing director for the 3rd largest book buyer in the United States, and I had about 40 employees. And in that division, there were about 6 of them that were, how sometimes you have those people that are the little grumblers because they don't really know how to connect to the job. They're not successful, but so they complain. And they're the little naysayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're like a little black cloud in the room. And that little black cloud affects everyone and everything because we're all connected.
Right.
And I think now, oh boy, if I could have known what I knew now, a little black cloud, I would either train them not to be, or goodbye, go find what really lights your fire. And so this is why it's so important. It's so important because we're all connected and we all affect each other. And I would love to say, oh, nobody affects me, but it's not true. And I'm very sensitive to energy. And when someone walks in the room and they are disconnected and don't know who they are, it does affect the environment. So it's really super important in terms of success for each one of us. It's actually the basis of success, I feel, to really be connected to yourself, to really know who you are. And, people around the world always ask me, well, why, Janet? See, this, I'm known as the passion queen, traveling all over the world, teaching for years and years and years and years, probably before you're born, how to live a passionate life. And, people say, well, why did you go to self-love? And I went to self-love because I realized that here are my trainers, over 3,000 of them, but not, they're so rah. They love the program. We've never gotten less than a 10. People love this passion test certification program. They get out, they're ready to go, and they don't. Well, what happens? Life happens. They meet themselves. And so they come up against their limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not beautiful enough. And what happens? They aren't able to live their dreams. So I realized what I really got clear on was that passion was not enough. What they really needed, and I wish I had known what I known, because I would have started with self-love, because what they need to know, and self-love is the very first thing, is who am I? And getting okay with the areas where they weren't okay. That's what self-love is. Self-love is not about being perfect. There's no such thing. It's about being accepting of what you feel is your imperfection. I'm going to say that again, about accepting what you feel is your imperfection and knowing that. How do you know you're supposed to be the way you are? Because that's how you are. End of story. How do you know you're supposed to be where you are in your life? Where you are, that's where you are. How do you know you were supposed to have the life you've had? That's the life you've had. There's nothing we can do about the past. And the past, if you'll notice, I love this quote. One of my great mentors is Byron Katie, who I'm sure you're familiar with, of the work. And one of her quotes I just love, she says, when I am clear, what is what I want. When I am clear, what is what I want. So what you notice is when you're clear, you realize that, hey, I don't want any other life. I don't want to be in any other body. I'm the only one who knows how to deal with this, with whatever this is going on, with whatever this is going on here. This is me. This is it. And so self-love is all about, getting really conscious of number one, and I think the very first step, and is it okay if I give everybody going right out of the gate a practice?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
This is one of the practices from my Mastery of Self-Love program. And it's the first step of this practice is to find your inner critic. So I'm going to ask you, Andy, what is that inner critic? That inner critic, in order to get to self-love, we have to deal with the icky stuff. All of us came into this world like, yay! And then what happened, right? We come out and life happens and we get hit by, different tragedies or shocks or, these things that happen that blow our minds, like getting our heart broken. And what we do is we start to layer ourselves to protect ourselves. And then the next thing we know, we think, why aren't I accepting of myself? Why aren't I accepting of others? And what happens is, these thoughts start going around in our mind called our inner critic. That's what they're called. I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'll never be able to make it enough. And we start to groove this inner critic into our neural pathways, and that becomes our reality. And we think that's who we are. That's what we're made of. And so the very first step is to find, what is your inner critic? What is that thing that you say to yourself over and over and over again? The thing is that everything is an inside out job, and we create our reality. It's the world is as you are. And so whatever you're constantly saying from within, it starts to manifest without. And so if you're always saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, the mind is like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. And so what the universe starts to do, because the universe doesn't choose, the universe doesn't know any different. It just says, oh, I'm not good enough. Okay, let's set up all the circumstances to prove that's true. And so what happens? The people, the places, the things start to show up in our lives to mirror back to us what it is our self-talk is, and to make us right. So it's really important for all of us to figure out, what is my inner critic? What is my inner critic saying? Very first step, to take a look at that so that we can find how do we shift that so that we can create a different reality, the reality that is actually really true. Because our nature, when we came into this world, our nature is love. Love is the highest vibration. That is what we're made of. And yet, because of the circumstances that have happened in our lives, then what we do, as I said, we start to layer those, these to protect ourselves. And we forget our nature. So it's about, how do we get back to that nature? Natural, that's the grounding word of nature. So I'm going to ask you, Andy, I want you to think, when you pass by a mirror, or you're ready to meet someone that is more important than you, right? That one, right?
Oh, yeah.
How we make someone bigger than us so we can separate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your inner critic?
Well, you mentioned it a little bit ago, and it's all about being perfect. It's like you must be perfect. Like,
okay, that's your inner critic.
That is like, don't make a mistake. I guess that's probably more it, right? Let's don't make a mistake.
Either that's it, or would it be, I'm not perfect enough?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to set that aside. There's your inner critic. And all of you guys listening, I want you to take a moment and find your inner critic. What does that mind say when you pass by a mirror, or when you see a beautiful woman who's perfect and maybe you consider yourself not? Or guys, you go into a job and there's someone who's like at the top of the game and they are just the golden person. What do you say to yourself? What does your inner critic say? And write it down and then set it aside. So just, you guys all know it only takes a minute. We all know what it is, right? Mine was, I'm too much. That was interesting,
okay.
huh? I'm too much, I'm not enough, whatever. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to find a stop word. A stop word is that word that you would say that would, the minute you become conscious that that inner critic is there, alive and thriving and creating that, groove in the neural pathways. What is a stop word that you want to say? Deborah Poneman, who you know and you've interviewed many times, we said, as we were talking earlier, when I first went to her seminar years ago, she would go, cancel. And that was her stop word. And I went, oh my God, I call it a stop word. And so some other people are no way, or out of here, or ridiculous, or bye-bye. What would be your stop word? Just one word or two that the minute you become aware you're thinking a negative, you can stop it in its tracks, because we create our reality. Your thoughts are things. And so what would your stop word be?
I think I'm just going to go with stop. That rings true to me right there.
Like, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your negative, you got your inner critic, you got your stop word. Now we're going to find our self-love mantra.
Okay.
So the self-love mantra is the exact opposite of what your inner critic would say. What's your inner critic?
I'm not perfect enough.
Okay, so what would be the opposite of I'm not perfect enough?
I'm perfect.
As I am.
As I am, right?
Yeah, I'm perfect as I am.
Right.
Make it believable. It has to be believable. Mm-hmm. So I'm perfect as I am. So that's your self-love mantra. So, okay, so here's mine. I'm not, you're out in activity, you're doing one of these interviews. Mm-hmm. You got someone on who's on fire. You start to compare yourself. I'm not perfect enough. I'm not perfect enough. No. And the minute you become aware of that you're doing that, like, noise, that's what I call it, that's untrue, then what do? You
stop.
Say stop. Yeah. And then what do?
Then my self-love mantra, I am perfect as I am.
I'm perfect as I am. I'm perfect as I am. Now, I wish that were enough. Enough. But now you have to find evidence. You have to find evidence. Yesterday it was really cool. I was on the call with someone I was mentoring, and she had cerebral palsy. Okay. And it was really a big, and we were actually talking about something completely off this, but for some reason, I asked her a question, and kaboom, it hit her straight in the heart. She burst out crying, and I went, okay, we got to deal with this now. And I went right into inner critic. And, what she realized was, oh my God, my body thing, it's all been up here. And for a lot of you, you might go, God, this is so elementary, but every person I know, I don't know, I hardly know any, unless you're a yogi and you're enlightened, you're running some word here. And, at first she said, I feel so fake when I do this. And I said, yeah, of course you feel fake. I said, it's much more believable to say that your body is ugly, isn't it? And she goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, because that's what you've been saying so long, you believe it's true. And I said, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to, so I had her find her self-love mantra, and I said, okay, now what I want you to do, I want you to find the evidence. Find the evidence. And she starts finding this evidence, right? One by one. Well, all my friends tell me I'm just like, incredible. And, and one thing after another. And the next, it was so fast, her flip. I said, how do you feel now? She says, incredible. I said, now here's the thing. You're going to feel fake for a while saying this, because it's more true to say the other. So we have to now, Andy, in order for the subconscious mind to believe this, have to find the evidence. Where's the evidence of your
Oh
self-love?
boy. Well, I mean, I have testimonials from people all the time in all the like online events we do of how much, I've helped them, we've helped them. I mean, that's like a constant, it's a constant. It happens all the time. So there's like tons of evidence, like.
Well, okay, so that's one. What else is the tons? Give me another from the tons.
Let's see. Wow, I am absolutely certain that Ike loves me exactly who I am, and has no, well, perfection isn't even like a concept to him, as far as like, you are perfect or you're not perfect, right? So that doesn't even exist. So I guess there's that. My mom loves me.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, give me one more, okay? One more. You kind of go, find one that's really like kaboom for you.
Kaboom. Wow, the kaboom. I guess when I really like, tap into it and sit with it, for me, evidence is like, if I'm doing yoga, I just know, right? Those moments of just like knowing.
Well, what do you know? Tell me what you know.
I know I am perfect as I am. I know I'm love. I know there's nothing wrong, right? I know that I am much more than just a body. I am, right? I mean, so
There
much
you
more.
go.
So
Isn't that so beautiful?
Yeah.
So this is, but it's a practice. And I got to tell you, there's so many transformational leaders I'd like to give this practice to. Because why are we doing whatever we're doing? It's to be the teacher living the teaching. Be the teacher living the teaching means, why are we here? We're here to be of service to humanity. All of us are here to be of service to humanity in whatever way, shape, or form we are living in this world. This is why we're put here, to pay it forward. So what is the most and the very best way to pay it forward? It's not about doing, it's about being. I'm going to say that again. It's not about doing. It's about being. It's about being that light. If any of you have ever been around an enlightened master, what does enlightenment imply? Enlightenment just means the ability to act without making mistakes. There are people in this world that walk this planet who they are so connected. It just means you're totally 100% connected. There's no loose ends going on. And there are people on this planet that are that way. And when you're around them, you have friends maybe that are very super, super connected. When you're with those people, what you feel, it's like a drug, you can't get enough of it. It's like a moth to a flame. It has to get close as possible. And there's nothing that flame has to do. There's nothing that has to be done. There's nothing more that has to be added. So for us to have that thought, that crazy thought that it's about what we do that matters, how we look that matters, that is so often so insane. And we're kind of askew in the world and lost in this dream. And what really matters, and it's not the body, nobody cares. Nobody really cares. Nobody cares if Janet Attwood's arms are, could be a little tighter. No one's going to really care. No one's going to really care. They don't spend a lot of time on you. No offense. I know that's a hard thing to take, but they're spending more time on themselves. What they're really caring about and what you care about, and think about what you care about. Who do you want to surround yourself by? When you're in pain, who do you call? When you want to be uplifted, who do you want to be with? And so all of us, our job here on this planet is to find the perfection in the imperfection. In Japan, they call it wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi, they break a vase and they look for the beauty in the broken areas of the vase. I love that. So how can you find your wabi-sabi? This is it. You said a very, your inner critic. I'm not perfect enough. I need to be more perfect, whatever. Let me ask you something. Have you ever made a mistake?
Yes.
Okay, and when you made that mistake, the next time you did that same act, did you notice that you did a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay, so where was the mistake?
In my thinking.
There's no, I really think one of the worst words on the dictionary are perfect, because there's, perfect is only, this is perfect. This is it. Right now, right here in this moment, who I am, this is as perfect as I can be. And for all of you listening, never ever have those thoughts that, oh my God, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Because here's the thing, that'll only send you in deep pain and misery and sadness, because you can't do anything about the past. And you needed every second to be in this moment right now. Every breath had to happen for this moment right here to happen. So where is the mistake? And I look back and, just this week, now this is like really intense, full disclosure, just this week, this is very interesting. Andy, when I was 16 or 17, my brother's two friends came over to see me, and I had always wanted to be a virgin until I got married. This was a very big deal with me. And then they came to see me one night, and they said, do you want a pill? That was right when all the drug culture started to happen. We didn't have rape in those days. It was not, there was no word for that, for what was going on then. And they said, do you want to take this? And I said, yeah. I'd do anything. I had a really big crush on both of them. I just idolized my brother's best friends. They were so cute. And the next morning I woke up and my whole life had changed. My whole life had changed. And I look back on that, and especially, and what happened this week, fast forward this week, someone said, hey, you were raped. That was so intense, right? I never even thought of it, because I never thought I'd been raped, because they were my brother's best friends. I felt like I did something wrong, right? I was working on that piece, that I had done something wrong, that I did that, right? How could I be so stupid? Why did I do that? I hadn't seen them. They just laughed out of my life after that, probably because they were like, oh my God, what did we do?
Right.
And just this week, I was staying with my friend who's a neuropsychologist, and she said, this is like, that's a very deep samskara. In India, they call that a deep samskara. That's like a real deep groove in the subconscious, that the soul kind of goes like, whoa, you weren't even there to know what happened. That's a very intense thing. And I got real excited. Now, I know this sounds really strange, but I got excited because I went, my God, that's another piece. And I'm more whole now. I'm even more whole now. And I am so good with women who have been raped to coach them. Because I look back and I realize that, all my life, that has colored my life. That has colored a lot of choices. That has colored, a lot of control issues that I've had in my life. I've seen it all over the place. And by being conscious about it, and this is about being the teacher living the teaching, being conscious about who I'm being, I've been able to help so many people. Self-love is all about being okay with where you're at, and really understanding that perfect is all that's happened. Because if you really get present with it, it will serve everyone that comes into your life. Everyone. And how the universe works is that you get what you get so that you can give it back to others in a greater way, so that we can all heal. We've all been bruised, we've all been broken, we've all been, creamed. We've all had that. And so we're here for each other to start to heal one another. And so where's the imperfection? Where's the imperfection here? I am so thankful for every single moment in my life. It's a yay. It's just a yay. And this is what I hope all of us can get to, is start to look at our life in a way where we can be so kind to ourselves. So kind. Self-love it makes me want to cry. It's really so important. It's about being so kind to you. When a little baby would make a mistake, would you take it and throw it against the wall? No, you would go, honey, come here. How do you treat you? When you make a mistake, It's about, hey, it's okay. You know, it's like, it's okay, because this is so important for all of us to start to get, because we're not living in a real kind world right now. And the world is as you are, and we're the ones that have to, all of you that are on this call, you've been called to this call to hear this right now. How do I know you're here hearing this right now? So our job is to start with ourselves and come back to self-love 101. Self-love 101 is about, it's okay. How do I know I'm doing the best I can, no matter how much I screwed up a minute ago? This is it. This is the best I can do. So what do you do with that? You just say, it's okay. Okay, next, let's do a do-over. Let's do a do-over. Let's try it again. And like wipe ourselves off, give ourselves a hug, because how you treat you, you treat everyone. How you treat you, you treat everyone, because there's no one out there. I mean, everyone's here to reflect you. And so if you want to know how you're doing, start walking through your day and seeing how the day is treating you and who is treating you and how they're being with you. And if you want to have a love in, if you want to be light, then be light. Be light to you. Lighten up. How do you do that? You know, it's all about acceptance.
Awesome. I think I asked you one question and here we are, like, you know, quite a while later, this amazing, beautiful conversation about love. So let's talk a little bit about, like, you know, I know before you got on this call, you talked about meditating, and I know that's been a big part of your journey. And so what are the benefits of meditating for people who aren't into that at the moment and might be interested as far as self-love goes?
Oh God, it's my number one. It's the number one thing that I tell people. You know, if the creator came down and said, okay, one tool, you can keep one tool, it would be my mantra, right? So I practice transcendental meditation, and the purpose of meditation, it's not to have a great meditation. Some aren't, some are, doesn't matter. What is the real purpose of meditation? And people meditate and they go, oh man, I had such a good meditation. But I'm a TM teacher, and the purpose of meditation is to have our mind slow down. You know, we are like busy, and to slow everything down and to gain a very profound, deep state of rest, a state of rest deeper than the 8 hours of deep sleep. The rest gain in meditation is much deeper and much more profound than rest. That's why you rest and then meditate, because it has a different quality to it. All of us have a nervous system, and depending upon the type of stress that we've had in our life, that stress latches onto our nervous system like a rope. If you had a rope, and every time you get stressed, it's like a knot. Some people's rope is just one knot. And you can see it on their face. You can feel it. They feel stressed, right? And they're tight. And you can be, you know, they walk into the room and you're like, ah. And then other people, they say meditators have a lighter air about them. The reason why many of them have a lighter air about them is simply because when you sit down to meditate, what you do, you transcend, you go beyond the thinking process, the mind settles down, the body settles down. And in that settled state, that rest starts to release this deep, deep stress. And we're talking about stress like PTSD. Oh, that was very funny. Welcome to doing your teleseminar all over the world and having your, that is too funny.
Host.
Yeah, there you go.
That was my host. I love you. That was funny that way. That was so real. I love that. How do you know that was
love? We don't want to edit such a thing out, because that's
do not edit that out. That was a perfect moment of how do you know that was supposed to happen? Wow, it did. And you know, how do you react when it happens? You can go, that shouldn't have happened, but it did. Oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, back to it. So that rest, what they found now is the rest is so profound, and you can find it in transcendental meditation. There's been more scientific papers from Harvard, Stanford, Yale, you name it, that shows that with a 20-minute meditation, one gains this deep, profound state of rest to be able to release this deep-rooted stress. And now they're working, you know, the TM movement has been working with with soldiers that have deep PTSD, and from the very first meditation, many of them, it's over. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. The American Heart Association has now validated the effects that when one meditates, their heart rate slows down, and it's the number 1 tool that they're telling their patients to use transcendental meditation for their heart. So what's it for? Now, it's also for, when you're stressed, does it affect your relationships? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You walk out of your room and you say, someone says hello to you and you're like, hello. And then, we're all sensitive. And then that person goes to the next person and they're not as connected because they're feeling like, whoa, what just happened there? And, someone else says, hi, how are you? Well, and it's like a domino effect. So it's really important for our personal relationships to be connected to ourselves. It's really important for our health. Meditation, absolutely. It's really important for our world peace, because the world is as you are. And really, think about it. We all need to, of course, find our passion for what we want to do to be of service to humanity. And yet there's so many millions of choices, aren't there? Mm-hmm. Of, okay, what do I want to do? Save the whales. Okay, go into the ocean and get rid of all the plastic. Oh no, genetic engineering. I mean, there's so many things that, that we could be after. And yet the number 1 best thing we could do is create peace in ourselves so that we could create a peaceful environment around us. And there's been this, another survey. I was in this survey in Washington, D.C. I forget what year, but I think it was also, it was probably about 20 years ago. And it's called the Washington, D.C. Study on Transcendental Meditation. And about 2,000 of us descended on Washington, D.C. And for 2 weeks, we did these long meditations. And there were all these studies that found that accident rates decreased. And, hospitals, so there were less people going to hospitals, less people doing all of these violent crimes. I mean, it was really incredible. And it's called the 1% study. You guys can look it up. That if 1% of the population meditated, we would create this collective consciousness. And, it's very interesting how that study has been pushed forward many times and validated and yet blocked. Validated and blocked. And so what do we have to do? All of us have to be the teacher living the teaching. We have to start to think, what do I need to do to improve my world? And start to gather people around us, right? There are pockets of places now all over the world where people are collectively meditating, understanding that collective consciousness creates a super consciousness. And this 1% study found that when 1% of the population is meditating, then a huge radius area is affected by those individuals that are meditating in a very positive way. So consider if more of us were meditating on a regular basis, not only would we be healing ourselves from within, but we'd also be doing maximum for the rest of the world. That's what I call do less and accomplish more. So if you want to be of service to humanity, be of service to you. Learn a meditation practice that is transcendental. Again, there's meditations that, that are wonderful, that don't transcend, don't go beyond the thinking process. There's concentration methods that hold the mind. And, you look at a candle, but you're holding your mind, so you're still on the surface of the mind. You need to find a meditation practice where you can go within. And there's a formula, look for, number 1, it has a history, a long history, where it's been showing that it has positive effects. There's scientific research. And there are lots of testimonials of people that have found that this type of meditation really gives me the benefits that I need. Look for that, because there's many people that have started the 2-minute meditation and the 1-minute meditation and the visualization meditation. Please don't be fooled by that. Look for a tradition of masters where the tradition has been handed down from master to master to master. And go to that, because this is your time. And every moment is important, just as this moment is important. All of us know that.
I love it. Thank you. That was a great moment. I love, and so is this one. All right, Janet. So we're running a little low on time. I want to make sure that you get a chance to talk about a couple things. So everyone watching right now, there's a couple buttons below this video. One of them takes you over to a free gift that Janet has. Speaking of meditation, we'll talk about, that'll be a part of your free gift. And then one of them takes you over to an offer. So tell us about these things.
Okay, so one of my favorite things I've ever done is called this program called Meditations on Love. And it's all about unconditional love. How do you become unconditional loving? And it's these actually very beautiful things that you listen to, the recordings that start with, I want for you what you want for you. And talking about unconditional love. I love the saying, I want for you what you want for you. If you want to learn how to be unconditional, that's one of the ways. Start to really go in deeply. What does that mean? You know, many of us say we love someone, and then they say to us, I want to leave. What? You can't leave me. How can you leave me? I want to leave for someone else. I can't believe you want to leave for someone else, but I love you. Really? Think about it. I want for you what you want for you. If you're really true to that, then if someone said, honey, you know, I feel like I need to go. It's time. This is no more. You know, I'm just not where I was. I want for you what you want for you. I love you so much that I want you to be happy and have what you want. Then you would let them have what they want. And let it be. And it's really profound. I love the quote there again to Byron Katie. God, I love her.
Yes.
Says, you know you're not there until you can say to the one who's leaving, honey, let me help you pack your bags. You know you're not there until you can say to the one who's leaving, honey, let me help you pack your bags. You know, Chris Attwood and I, we really, when we were married, we came to that place where we just weren't connected any longer the way we needed to be in that marriage and be really happy. And when we had said, we're never going to do we're never going to go into this separation. And when we decided to get a divorce, we went out to lunch and celebrated. And we went out to lunch and celebrated because we had done so much inner work that we were at the place where we could both say, honey, let me help you pack your bags. And not feel, you know, what is it that we fight over? Think about it. When someone's leaving, what we're really screaming about is that we feel that we're not loved.
Right.
We feel that we're not loved. We're going to lose that love. So if you always show that person that you love them, and instead of finding what's wrong with them because you need to leave, this is what we do. We try to set it up that there's something wrong with them so we can prove to ourselves that's why we're leaving, instead of we're just leaving because it's time to leave. It would be a very different world. No matter what. So this whole meditation on love is all about, I want for you what you want for you in very different ways, and goes very deeply into, you know, you just sit, listen, and go deeply within on that concept to be able to have a deeper understanding of what is unconditional love. What does it really mean to be unconditionally loving? And let me tell you guys, no one said it's easy. I mean, it's not. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of inner work. But I'll tell you what's worse. What's worse than that work is to have separation. You know, to be separate, to create separation in your life from concepts. They're so mean to me, or they're so awful, or I hate them, or they're screwed up. You know, so this is to bring us back to ourselves, bring us home to ourselves. And I got to tell you, it's really an incredible feeling when you really can, with all honesty, say to someone who's leaving you, Chris Atwood got married to a younger woman, 24 years younger. And it pushed my buttons at first. It really did. I'm really sincere. And I had to go back and, okay, let's get with this program. And when his wife met me, she was like, who's she? Because we were best friends still. No way. And I had to leave for a year until she started to really realize that, the problem wasn't with me. The problem was with her thinking about me. And so this is all about healing your concepts that separate you so that you can really be connected to you and therefore, be able to be connected to others.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So everyone,
I'm answering these questions really shortly, aren't I? Man, a little bit long-winded. Guys, this is not fair. I just got off a week-long cleanse. So, do whatever you want with this interview.
This is perfect. And I love it. And it's perfect because that was the time at which you were supposed to do the interview. And here we are. So there it is.
Yeah. Janet Attwood Unplugged, right? Yes.
That's right. Okay, awesome. So there's a button below, so you can go check out that free gift from Janet. And then you also have a certification program for...
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so proud of it. I told you in the very beginning that I decided when I was running around teaching the passion test, what they need is mastery of self-love. They need self-love so that they know who they are, so that when they figure out their passion, they have the courage to say, this is what I stand for. So I've created this whole certification program. It's called the Mastery of Self-Love Certification Program. And it's a program that you learn how to give a 4-hour workshop on self-love. And why I'm so proud of this is because, I realized after I'd been traveling all over the place, giving the passion test, that I was still kind of, I could be really grumpy and not so nice. And I thought, God, how can I, what can I do about this? Because that's not who I am. And I want to work on that. How can I work on that? Because when you're training people in something, you become more of that because you say it. And when you speak it, you learn it. You know this, right? You know this because you're a trainer. You speak it and you learn it at a different level. I mean, there's no one out there. You're the one you're teaching. It's always that way. If anyone gets something, that's a bonus, right?
Right.
So yeah, be the teacher, living the teaching. And so I decided, God, I need to teach myself. I need to get with the self-love program because that's why I'm being, hard on myself still. And I'm not getting any younger, and I want to really be the biggest heart of the universe I can be. That's my goal. If I could achieve anything when I leave, I want them to say, God, wasn't she just freaking loving? And so I created this self-love program so that it's one exercise after the other, like the inner critic process, and they're deeper and deeper and deeper. And even in the 4-hour, I have had people contact me and say their whole life has changed. And I got to tell you, and so we teach people how to do a 4-hour workshop and also how to do one-on-ones, coach someone one-on-one. Within the first half hour, it's like, because you really get back, I'm a bottom line person, and they get right down to what is it that's really disconnecting you from yourself. And I got to tell you, Andy, I feel here's the evidence, my life. Your evidence is your life. How you're doing is your life. And I woke up this morning and I went, my God, I am surrounded by the most beautiful people on the planet. Seriously, everywhere I go, people are kind to me. Why is that? The world is as you are. And I'm being kind to me. Even, I don't make mistakes now. I do do-overs. It's okay. And I had to work on that because I was the hardest person I know on myself. And I mean, seriously, and I'm still working on me. It doesn't end, by the way, you guys, as long as you're here on this planet and breathing, guess what? We're a 24-hour teleseminar with ourselves, and just say, okay, I'm here, I'm going to do my work because that's the only work that really matters. And what I've seen in my students is the same. I mean, I've had women who have come to me that I'll share one. She's my master trainer now. Her name is Haiti. She's in Denmark. When Haiti came to me, and first took my program. She sat at the back of the room. She wouldn't talk. She couldn't say anything. And now she's in charge of my whole program for Scandinavia.
Wow.
And she, you know, at first she was this little wallflower, and what came out in these exercises is when she was younger, she was with a guy who used to physically beat her up and beat her up, beat her up, beat her up. And she thought she was, you know, she had caused that. It was her fault. She was terrible. She was awful. And through these exercises, very quickly, she came to understand that, no, wait a minute. She was doing the very best she could. And when she had that realization, it was like Haiti. This mask came off her, and rock star Haiti came out of the woodwork, and she is rocking all over Europe and lit, and two in Thailand, and Nico in Japan. And I can just, one after the other after, and these are people. Nico tried to commit suicide 4 times before I met her. And her father had physically abused her until she was like about 18. And she decided she didn't even want to live anymore. She came to me. I was like her last hope. And what I did was one of the processes in the Mastery of Self-Love that helped her to reframe all that had happened to her. And now she's working with kids who want to commit suicide. And I got to tell you, I've never seen a program faster than Mastery of Self-Love. And on top of that, you get to be of service to humanity, but you also, while you're sharing this knowledge to everyone else, you get to become the best you possible. I mean, this is crazy. Get paid for, you know, being able to transform the world, but transform yourself while you're doing it. There's nothing more, nothing better. And love is the highest quotient, right? Love is the number one thing that we want to be connected to. And so if you want to become love, then start training about love. And don't think you can get it from a book, kids. You cannot get this from a book. You know, your stuff is deep, and you need trainers that are trained to be able to really scan what's going on in your energy field, and, you know, using their clairvoyance to do that, and teaching you how do you learn how to use your intuition. That's what we do in the Mastery of Self-Love, to be able to walk into a room, be able to scan and feel what is each person experiencing, so that you can, you know, you can manage the whole room, but it's as if you're with one person at the same time. And it's an incredible program where I feel it's got a huge blessing on it, because I've just seen so many masterful changes in people. So look at our calendar and you can see where the next one is. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is just awesome. And I love the, right, how we can all, right, be the best amazing person that we are, love ourselves even more as we teach it to others. It just gets reflected back to us. So I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So everybody, there's buttons below this video going over to Janet's free gift and the offer. So we need to wrap up, but are there any last insights? Anything you feel like we've left out? There's probably, I mean, sure, we could go on forever.
No, just remember, I don't think so. I mean, I was a little, right? No, remember, each one of you, you know, if there's nothing else that you got from this, just be kind to you. You know, set an intention that you will become aware, because you are aware. You're conscious already. You're a conscious creator. How do I know you're on this call with Andy and I? How do I know you're here? So set an intention today that for now on, and write yourself a little 3x5 card that you can put by your bed, you know, and tell self, because you know self is the most powerful person to talk to. That's called you. And give yourself instructions. Please help me become aware of when I'm not being kind to myself. Help me become more self-aware, you know, when I'm not being kind to myself. And remember that as you treat you, you treat everyone. All right, Andy. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
It's been so long. I hope we can somehow get together again. It's lovely to be with you.
Right back at you. I know it has been a while. It's good to share the digital space with you since we're not in person, but thank you so much for doing this, and for everything and everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest class. And here is to your success. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Yay.